Okay, I just have to start this. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what I'm supposed to do first. You know what? It doesn't really matter, ultimately. You just got to do any of these operations. I'm recording a video. Just give me a minute. I'll be done in just a few minutes. So, okay. Do it whatever order you want, okay? That's the whole point of this product, is it's not meant for mass mechanization. This is a home retail product. Okay, so if you went in your kits, you had different sizes of these things. You had this size, and you had the smaller ones, okay? So you can start with either one. I think some of you may have even some larger ones than that. Don't remember exactly what I put in each one. Every single kit was completely different, because that's the whole point of this. It was just supposed to be the stuff in there to get you guys started, show you how to make these, you know, in the quantities that you want to sufficiently add to your income to a point where you're like, okay, I'm making enough of these now. Okay, so this was the template that you should have in your thing. This is the only and last one that I have. Apparently, I gave out all of them to you guys, so I probably have the electronic file for it, I guess. But you'll have one of these guys in there. You can take the measurements off and redo it. You should probably protect this, put this somewhere safe, like a safe deposit box or something, because there are no more of these. I might be able to print some more on the computer if I can find the file. I'm not positive. But, okay, so these are approximately 1 3/4 inches. I'm not even going to read these off. Just go in your thing, go in your kit and take this out. Okay, so take one of these. I'm just going to do it kind of small. I'll tell you what, I'll take one of the big ones. So I'm going to take one of the big ones. I'm going to use, for this batch, I'll use red. All right, so red. Okay, so you're going to have all different sizes of those plastic things. So you just kind of get an idea. You put this over, okay, to get an idea where you're going to cut. So in this case, I'm going to cut right there. Now, please do not use your original. Go make 50 Xeroxes of it and put your original someplace safe, okay? Because I can't send you any more of these. If you screw it up by cutting through it, by doing what I'm about to do, okay, then I can't send you any more of these. So you have one, you have to make a copy of it, and you have to put the original in a safe deposit box. If you guys send me any email saying that you lost this one, I cannot do it. It's not that I'm trying to be mean. I just literally don't have anymore. I have this one, and that's all I have anymore. Okay, so and it's not an easy size to just figure out. All right, so I'm going to cut approximately there, and I'm going to remove that cutting file. So cut approximately there. All right. Okay. Now what does that give us? That gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to get 6 tabs out of this piece. All right, now this piece, do not throw that away. Keep it, because you use it for something else. Okay, don't throw any of it away. You need it all for different projects. Okay, so you have that. That's worth about 6. So if I cut it once, halfway down there, and in thirds, then I'm going to get 6 out of this. Okay, let me put this someplace where I won't spill my drink on there, my Haitian sunrise. Oh man, that is the best drink. Okay, so you got to cut it in half. Well, first do thirds. So what is that?
Sorry, I don't have a meat mallet, so.
Do you need a meat mallet?
We don't own one.
I'll buy one. Okay, so I do one there, and then one there. Okay, that one there, there we go. So cut right there and cut right there. Now, why am I not doing this precisely on a square cutting jig and all that? Because that's not the point of this product. This is not a die cut sheet. Okay, these are hand cut. All of these are handmade. They're not made by a factory somewhere. They're made in your homes. Okay. So cut there. Cut there. Cut there. Okay. Now, this is the official base size. They cannot go larger than this. They cannot. Okay, for a lot of various reasons. However, you can go smaller than this. So here's one of the original ones. This is from about 6 years ago or so. And you can see how much thinner it is. See? So much thinner. Same length. It's flattened out a little bit over the years, but it's the same length. So, same length, narrower width for this really old one. Again, this one, I've reloaded this thing probably 12 times. So you can see back then we used to do a grommet. Now we have the other method. You can always go back to the grommeted ones. They're an amazing product. I mean, if you guys ever need an instructional on doing the grommeted version, send me a link or in the comments, or just send me an email. You have my email address. I'll show you guys how to make those, because these are, you can see how long they last. They just, because you have the grommet connecting across such a wider surface area of the plastic, they just really don't tear out much. Now, given that, as far as I know, these new ones are just as long lasting. They haven't been in use as long as these old ones. Okay? So, all right, so you take one of these blanks, yeah? Now, you get your tape ready. So, here's a box of tape. You guys did not get the tapes with your kits. Nobody did. Okay, I gave you sample FixIt clips, but I did not give you sample tapes. And the reason is, this is part of your own core identity for your licensed FixIt Clip product. So for instance, this is Gorilla Tape, a white Gorilla Tape. This you can't use. I just happen to keep that in the box because it's a convenient place to keep tape. Okay, we have, this is Gorilla Tape with the Realtree on there. I think it looks pretty cool. A couple of you even got a few sample ones, or a sample one with that. I didn't mail it many, but a few. This is a colored one from Duck. Now you'll see in some cases some of the quality varies, and this isn't necessarily a bad tape for what it is, but it has a sort of, you can see the texture of the reinforcement underneath, where in a way this is much more consistent and linear. This is kind of all over the place, but this is much thinner. So this is not as strong of a tape as the Gorilla Tape. It's just the substrate isn't as thick. But sometimes strength is not the only thing that you want. If you're putting, if your customer base typically uses these things for marking drinks at a party, if everybody has their own little, I mean, that was one popular thing that one of our users is. They got a different color for each one, and when the people came to the party, each one got a FixIt clip, and they would like use that to mark their cup, so that, you know, could save on recycling and all that. So some people did that. So if that's your core market, the thinness is fine, all right? If your core market is they're going to be lashing a trailer hitch in an emergency to a piece of downed oak wood to drag it off of some poor orphaned puppy, then you probably want to go with something stronger, right? Like the Gorilla. even if you don't, even if you know that it's, the costs in these cases are not a major issue. The expensive tapes are just per FixIt clip are a little more expensive than the cheap tapes. So you'll find that you'll want to get the tapes that work for you. Like, so this is 3M. Now 3Ms, this is easy to find most places. They have a huge range of colors. This is a thinner duct tape, but it makes some excellent FixIt clips. I tried to make sure I put at least one 3M sample into each of your boxes. Okay. So, all right, so I'm going to choose this orange tape for this particular FixIt clip. Okay, so there we go. I'm going to measure out 18 inches. So there's my thing. Okay, minimum 18 inches. Okay, by your FixIt clip agreement, you have to go no less than 18 inches. If you want to go longer, you're welcome. On this one, because the tape is thinner, I'm going to go to 24, which is 2 feet of tape. Again, you are never allowed to go below 18 inches. That's part of the agreement. Okay, so I'm taking this orange tape. I'm going to have to flip around the camera here. All right, take your... Now, this part's hard, okay? So I picked a harder tape to do it with. It's easier to do it with the thicker tape. Why? Because when you wind this on there, you need to wind it in such a way... By the way, depending on the rules, of your state for resale, you need to find out if there's a chance if these are considered a food product. So if anybody attempts to use these as a food product, then you need to follow, I think you need to assemble these things in a clean room or some kind of kitchen of some sort. So please be aware of the rules in your state. All right? If this is just an outdoor used product and it's not intended for food contact, then you can just use your bare hands. All right, so we'll just start it there. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to make a quick change here. This fob is a little too wide for my tastes, for what I'm thinking of making here. So I'm just going to cut off a little bit. Okay. No, I changed my mind. The thin fob should be for the thicker tape. All right, here's one thing that I tell you. Because the thicker tape takes up more space in your pocket. So the thin tapes can go on the wider fobs, which make it look good. Okay, so one of the things I like to do on mine is cut the corners. In your sample kit, you probably have one with the corners cuts and one without. All right. I don't cut it on the bottom because that's where the tape is, but I cut it on the upper corner. All right. So here goes. Now this is the tricky part. Okay. This is the hard part. Okay, because you have to wind this tape, keeping a consistent distance between the edge of your fob and the tape. Because if you don't, it's going to be all jagged on the end, and you don't want it to look jagged. It has to look smooth, because that's what people like. They don't want something that looks handmade. They want it to look like it's machine made. But you're making them by hand, not a machine. Okay, so I'm turning it around. It's not a quick process. Don't rush through it. You can rush through it more with the thicker tape because the thicker tape doesn't deviate as much. Now with each one, you've got to straighten it out because sometimes you have a little more tension or a little less tension on one side and it kind of goes off kilter. So if you straighten it out too much, you're going to get an air bubble. If you get an air bubble, then you probably have to throw that one out or give it away for free to a friend because you can't have any of these with air bubbles. They can't have air bubbles in them for a lot of reasons. It doesn't look professional. So if you get one with an air bubble, if you're able to fix it by pulling it away, that's fine. Look at that. I got an air bubble. See that? But I can fix it. I can just move it to the side. Okay. I would say it's pretty close to fixed. I got out most of the air. Do not pick it with a pin. Do not prick it with a pin. You can do that when you're laying vinyl. Here, it helps sometimes if you use something a little. Don't do anything harder than the tip of your finger. That's good. That's fine. All right. So just keep winding it. But if you have a big air bubble in the center, that's not going to work. Look at this. Now see, I've screwed up. I wasn't aligned with that one, so let me go back. You got to kind of guide it, each one. Now see, you might have some, not really bubbles, but where it doesn't align exactly on the edge. That's normal. You're never going to have a perfectly lipless surface. There will always be a lip there because you're not winding these under constant tension. Now, the fact that these are not wound under constant tension is part of the reason that these are not made by machines. Because winding this kind of tape under anything other than constant tension is very expensive. And it's the reason why FixIt Clips get to exploit this niche that nobody else is selling, asymmetrically tensioned tape. All right, so there you go. Apologies if my fingernails are dirty. I was fixing a motorcycle yesterday. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so that's ready. All right, I'm going to bring it back here. And you should have received one of these little fellows with your kit. I believe you received one. I'm quite sure you did. This one is labeled, yours probably did not have a Mosquito Ranger logo on it. So the Mosquito Ranger is an upcoming 4x7 project. I don't know exactly when it's going to hit for you guys, but it's coming up. It's not this little knife. This is just a freebie that goes with it. It's a promotional one that we send to the existing 4x7 backers like you guys when you order Mosquito Ranger. So I might as well just tell you now. If you do if you back the Mosquito Ranger FixIt Clip project, when it asks for the secret code, say, I gotta do something I'm gonna remember because I'm not gonna write this down. Oh, here, this'll help me remember. Mention this cocktail lounge, the Harem Lounge on 3301 East First Avenue in Denver. Okay, mention that, and then I'll know that I'll put one of these in with your set. Okay, I'm not going to show you what the Mosquito Ranger, oh, what the hell, I'll just show you. Fast. It's going to go in front of the lens fast. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so you take that guy, you pull out the little needle thing there. Okay. Let's clear the workspace here. I don't need this that thing anymore. I'll clear this up. All right. I had that thinner one that I was originally going to use, but then I changed my mind. I decided that the thicker one would look better in this case. And since it was thin tape, I could get away with using a thicker one. If I used a thick one with the thick tape, the fob would be like enormous. Okay? So that's part of the reason. If you're using a really thick tape, you need to go down to a smaller core. Because, and you don't have to. In some cases, like if people are clipping these the outside of their backpack, they actually want a bigger one. They want it to be bigger. And the bigger, the better. Use the biggest fob you can for all I know with that. I don't know. You could make a FixIt Clip as big as you want, okay? But you gotta, before you go bigger than that size here, tell us, okay? Because we already have upcoming FixIt Clips in that area, and if yours are bigger than that size that's in this thing, like for the outdoor industry, then you got to tell us, because we got to give you something special on your starting kit, because you saw it when we saw it. So in that case, here, mention this code. Here, just say generation of Vipers. Okay, so in your code, say generation of Vipers, and then I'll know that when you back the super large FixIt Clips, that I'm going to send you something extra. I don't know what, but it'll be something really good. I'll have to find out. Okay, so, all right, you take this, and now this is important. Okay, you can't rush this. You have to punch it into the center of that fob. Okay, because if you're off center, your customer will notice it immediately. Okay. Okay, so just using a ruler oftentimes is not enough. The reason is it's corrugated. So if you happen to punch your hole through one of the walls here, it's going to veer off and it's going to look like it's off center, which you don't want. Okay, so you need to look at it beforehand and say, really find out where the center is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one is the center one. And you need to try to get inside of that corrugation right here. Okay? So we have this one here, and we need to get to the center of that corrugation. Okay, in this case, it was easy. Okay, so right about there, make sure you don't poke your finger. Do it on a piece of cork or something, but make your hole. Don't use a drill, because if you use a drill, you're going to weaken the plastic too much and the zip tie will fly out. And please do not use a heat gun, because it makes the hole too large, and it also creates volatile organic compounds, which can hurt your lungs. And there are some times when we can't avoid. Look, I have a couple bubbles in mine. Ah, screw it. Okay, well, guess what? This is a sample. This is a sample. Okay, so this is a sample. I'm going to do one more afterwards to show you how these can be wound bubble free, but I'm not that good at it. Okay, so you make your hole like that. Put away your little poker tool. Where is it? Okay, put away the little poker tool. And then you got to pick a zip tie. So I use this brand. I think you get it at Home Depot, but you can also get it at Harbor Freight. These are made in China. I have never found one made in the USA. So if you find some of these that are made in the USA by some cool dudes in some cool little plastics factory, or made in Canada or Mexico, or just some cool dudes even in China, if they're just awesome dudes in China, like, try to buy those ones. Let me know and I'll recommend them to the users. Okay, so I'm going to pick a yellow zip tie. Okay, now, so I picked a yellow zip tie. Here's the thing. I did not know that there was going to be a global split ring shortage. Nobody saw this coming. they saw, like, it makes sense. Why was there a global toilet paper shortage or whatever there was a shortage of, whatever there's people were hoarding, whatever. But split rings? So now, unfortunately, all you guys literally got all my split rings, and I can't buy anymore. And every time I put an order in, it comes back. I mean, I'm trying to buy, industrial quantities of these split rings, and I can't get them. So I've been making them. Now, in each of your kits, I know that you guys got these. I gave you some samples, but I've been making these things. So, because I can't get any more split rings, you guys got them all. All right, so put the flat end down. Yep, I'm sorry, flat end up, excuse me. So pull it through, get it to about there. Put the thing through. All right. So whatever split rings you guys have with your kits, beware. Don't give them up too easily, because I regret giving you guys so many of them per kit. I gave you guys I gave each one of you like 30 or 40 of them, which was a lot, or 20 of them. I don't remember. 32 of them maybe, 36 of them. Yeah, I think I gave you guys 36 of them. Okay, I gave you 36 each, which was basically all my supply. I have practically none left. All right, so I used to pull this tight with a needle nose pliers. I no longer do that. I just use hand tightness, because in tightening it with needle nose pliers, I compressed this too much and I damaged that plastic structure. By the way, I did want to go back one thing. You might have a piece of plastic where the wall, just because of the way you cut it, like this one I cut perfectly because I was careful to try to cut along the ribs, all right? But you might cut one that is, when you make it smaller, that it'll come out to 6 across, or that this corrugation is somewhere. So the center of it, in this case, was easy. And that looked pretty good, okay? I think that's pretty good, all right? I think that's decent right there. And that came out well. I mean, I haven't finished it here. But yours might not come out looking so aligned, and it won't sometimes because of where the plastic is. So in that case, you got to decide. Is it one you're going to sell, or is it one you're going to give to your friends? All right, so I'm going to leave that up to you guys. This bubble, I do not feel comfortable selling this. Those too many bubbles there. I would not feel comfortable accepting money for this. I'd be okay giving it to my friends, but I would not be okay accepting money for this. All right, so that's done. So now you have your sheets, which you've printed up on cardstock at Kinko's or the UPS store, or even your own high-quality laser printer. Please do not use anything with an inkjet, because it's water soluble. Unless you have a water insoluble inkjet, then that's okay. But if it's water soluble, please do not use it. It has to be a laser printer of some kind or printed with ink. That's even better. All right, here, when you put it on there, let me just show you something. Don't always trust the guide of your cutter. Don't trust that guide. Okay, the guide is correct. This is a good cut cat. It's decent. I'm no complaints with this. But look, there's my trim lines. I know there's a lot of graphic designers that you're just rolling your eyes right now. But there's a lot of people who back this who are not graphic designers. And please, graphic designers, have patience while I show them some very basic things about graphic design. You go by the trim marks. Okay, don't go by the edge. Okay, it always has to be by the trim marks. So you'll see there's trim marks there. Okay, those are what you cut it by. So now if you use a professional guillotine cutter, if you have to cheat a little bit on the side guide, well, then you have to do that. It's more important to cut on now in some cases that's not always true. Like, you know what, I'll tell you what. There are some people that say that the trim marks are never going to be exactly right, all right? And they get close enough using the guides, the way that the cutting machine is meant to cut, all right? And they say they get good results. So I'll tell you what, let's do it that way. We're not going to be obsessive compulsive about it. We're just going to kind of find it between the two. So I came in a little low on this one and a little high on that one, and cut it off. Okay, and now I'm going to be you're learning a really good technique here. This is going to save you from having to spend a bunch of money on guillotine cutting. If you want to do guillotine cutting, that's cool, but if you just want to do it at home and don't want the bother of taking it to a guillotine, this is the main. Now you see I didn't cut that all the way off. Okay, I left that hanging on. Okay? See, look at that. I left that hanging on. I went past the trim mark, but I left it hanging on. See that? I'm going to do the same thing with each one of them. So you could do this very fast. You could make You can, if you do it this method, you're going to have a very well cut. You'll have a very well cut sheet. In other words, your labels will look really good, okay? And you're going to save yourself money, all right? You'll save yourself money by having taken it to a guillotine cutter. I've got to cut the end off here. Oh, wait a minute. Got to cut the end off here. Oh, it's getting complicated. You know what? It's a lot easier when you do a bunch of them. It becomes like second nature. All right. So, well, see, I can't do it that way because it's too close to the inner edge, so I have to cut it like this. All right. Well, the best laid plans of mice and men. I wanted to have the entire bottom drop off for you, but it's fine. This way works fine. Okay, so what I have is this. So what I have is that. Okay? And cut that off. I really got to hurry here. I think my phone's about to run out of juice. Cut that off. Okay, and now I have 3 tabs. I'm going to, and this is the one tool I forgot to bring. You could just use this tool. I'm going to crease right between those, this is the wrong tool for that. I'm going to crease right between those 2 dots there. So use the edge of your galaxy gauge. If you don't want to damage your galaxy gauge, actually just use this. Well, now that confuses you because of the black edge. So you just have to use the regular edge. I would use the inches side because at least you don't have to be as accurate with inches as you do with picas. So if you have to use one, use the inches or metric side. You really don't want to mess with your pica scale. It's really important that you keep that perfect. Okay, what I should have done is crease the entire sheet before I cut them apart, but I wasn't thinking that far ahead. Okay, so this time I'm going to be careful not to damage the paper with this, but I'm going to use the just kind of drag this needle across it. Okay, so there we go. And we have a nice clean fold right there. Yeah, came out pretty good. Okay, so we'll put that there. Now, you need to put a grommet in here. Okay, so this is the one I'm currently using. I'm using this old grommet machine. It does a good job. But the grommet industry is not standardized the way that the stapler industry is. So one brand's grommets often don't work in somebody else's grommets if you're using the self-piercing. Therefore, you will find that once you have an old grommet machine that you really like I have this one, oftentimes it's hard to find grommets that match. Now, if you go into if you're making a lot of FixIt clips, like maybe thousands of FixIt clips per month in your home, and you're employing your neighbor's grandson and your whoever needs a job, whatever, if you're employing all these people in your home making FixIt clips, that's cool. Get a decent grommet machine. Okay, like this is my 405 by Stimson. Okay, it's a really good one. Now, this is a well-made grommet machine. The big thing is Stimson, I'm not sure if they make the size grommets in these small ones. I don't know. So in that case, you can just use, sorry, this phone is all loose on here. You can just use the thin little eyelets. Yeah? I'm sorry, you can just use, you can't really use the big ones because it's just too big. It looks funny. Like the grommet's too big. You could kind of do it. If you really wanted to use the big one, I'm trying to see if you really wanted to use a big Stimson grommet machine on this thing, but I believe the grommet space is too big. So if you use the small one, it comes out looking pretty good. So, let's see, this should fit. Is there already a grommet on there? Now I'm confused. I don't want to mess up my, hold on a minute here. Look, even the grommets that came with this machine don't fit it. That's why Stimson is so great, because all of their grommets fit. They're really well-made grommets, but they don't make them this small, so you've got to just accept that. Okay, They don't make them this small. So when you deal with this, Chinese stuff, it's okay. I mean, sometimes the quality is incredible. Sometimes you just don't really know what you're getting. All right, so I'm just going to have to use this the best I can because for some reason now my grommets aren't fitting on here, aren't staying. Okay. Look at this. What is going on? What is going on with my grommet machine? Okay, here we go. There was something on there. Okay. All right, here we go. We're good. I knew you wouldn't give up on me, buddy. You know, the people who made you in China, they still love you. You're made with love. This has been a good machine. I don't disparage tools just because they're made in China. I like Chinese people. All right. Boom! All right, there we go. Now, what color tape, and again, I'm not going to sell this one because it has bubbles on it. Okay, but what color tape do you use for this? I use white or black, but I don't use orange. I don't use flowers. I don't use those, and there's a reason, because your customers, when they see you using a flowery tape for something that's just supposed to hold the FixIt Clip in position, it doesn't really look professional. It just looks kind of too artsy craftsy kind of. Okay, so just use a simple color, gray, white, black, just some monotone thing. It shouldn't look too creative. It needs to look industrial on some level. And you know, look, I promise to wind one of these without bubbles, and I'll show you the difference in winding them with the Gorilla Tape. But okay, I'm just taking a piece. I tore that off the wrong way. Darn it, I did this wrong. I screwed up. I have to throw that piece of tape out, which is a travesty, but I pulled off too much. You just need a little bit. About that much. Okay. About that much, and you gotta roll it this way. Okay? So roll it the short way, and then put it on the back. Tape it. You can put this down and move it to the side. It doesn't matter if it blocks the name. It does make a difference, because when it's hanging on the shelf, people are going to look at it. They're not looking at the name. Now, the regular ones, you'll notice, do not block the name. Okay? But, and we originally said we didn't want to allow the lanyard versions for retail sale, but so many people were asking, like, it's fine, it doesn't matter. However you want to do it. We've relaxed a lot of these rules. We were originally going to say all of the FixIt Clips basically had to look alike, but it just made them not fun to make. And part of what makes this a good way of earning money is that you don't feel like blowing your brains out after you've done 5 hours of it. These are fun. You change up the colors, you change up the colors of the tape, you change up the colors of the plastic, you change up the colors of the zip ties, you change up these things, you change up the width. You know, oh, now, wait a minute, I forgot something. Here. This already has the barcode and everything on it. Okay, but you have to sign it. Now, you do not have to put your 4x7 number on there. Okay, some people for security don't really feel comfortable listing their entire 4x7 number anywhere. That's theirs. Okay, personally, I would feel better if most people felt the same way as that. I would prefer you not share your 4x7 numbers with everybody. Okay, each one of you has your own unique 4x7 number, and that's your identity to ownership. Now, if there's some dispute at some point and more than one person claim that they own the same number, we're going to have to deal with that then. But for now, each of you has your own number. You haven't shared it with probably haven't shared it with people that aren't important to you. I'm sure you've shared it with only the people that are important to you. So you're fine. You're safe. Okay. So that's done. Yeah. I was going to wind one more with the thick tape. Okay, so let's bring back our ruler. So in this case, I'm going to use just plain old black Gorilla brand tape. Now, I got to talk to you guys about a Gorilla tape problem. So I'll save that for the end. Okay, but in this case, I'm not going too much over 18 because the tape is so thick. It's just so freaking thick. Gorilla Tape is twice as thick as another one. That makes it much easier to wind, but it makes it, it just makes for a bulky product that some people prefer. You know, depending on your market, some people would rather have 18 inches of Gorilla Tape than 38 inches of 3M tape or duct tape or one of those brands. People really like this brand. This has a lot of cachet in the outdoor industry. It's a really high quality product. It's more expensive, but it's often worth it. Now there's a couple of knockoff versions that are incredible. They're really good. There's one from Home Depot and Lowe's that are really good. I just have to mention one thing about this Gorilla Tape. Okay, but I'll come back to that. So we're, because picking your tape is an important part of your business. You know, you've got to, look, you know what, I didn't start this right. You need to start it with this as close to the edge as possible, but it's not going to line up with that edge exactly, and it doesn't matter. You have to try to get the edge of the tape and the edge of the fob somewhat parallel. But this tape is much easier to wind. Now you'll notice I started on a smaller fob because the Gorilla Tape versions are, oh, my phone's about out of batteries. Cripes, I gotta rush through this. Jeez, this is getting all screwed up. This is one of the ones I'd give a friend. It takes, you can't rush through these to have them still look good. But anyway, this one came out passably enough. I give this one to a friend, and you can see the way the tape wound. There is no bubbles in it. I didn't get a perfectly clean edge because I was rushing through because my phone's about to run out of batteries. But there we go. Okay, that's done, and you continue manufacturing it the same way. You can use the black split rings, the silver split rings, use whatever you want, but good luck getting a hold of them because of the split ring shortage. If you have to, just go with these tying ones, which you can make these out of carabiner cord, and these are fine. People really like the look of them. I personally think that the ones with the split ring give a lot more flexibility than the ones with the thing, because you can pick silver split rings, gold split rings, black split rings, whereas these, from so far what I found is the color of the rope is important. So the only ones that I found that really kind of fit with the theme of these FixIt clips, with the colors that are available in the fobs and the tape, is pink, bright pink neon, white, black, bright green, but there's really very few kind of subdued patterns in string that you can get. This one is actually glow in the dark. Okay, so if you can find split rings, they're a preferable way to sell these things. But where do we price these at? So it depends where. Some people are selling these for $4.95 each, and some people are selling them for $7.95 each. Some people are selling them for $3.95 each. Some people are selling them to their friends without packaging, just little homemade ones for $2 each. Okay, and they're making money on it. By the way, look, I screwed up on this one. I put the wrong side. I put the wrong side on the card. That was backwards. I did it wrong. Look, I've now messed up. Now this is really one I won't sell to somebody, okay? But I did it backwards. I screwed up on that. So that, wait a minute. Hold on, I just did it again. I attached it to the same side. I turned it over and attached it to the same side. Okay, so that's correct now. Oh, but look, I screwed up. I didn't time it right. The line is on the front, which can't be. So I've got to go back to the other one in this case. If you have the line on the front, just show the other side of the zip tie. The ideal one is if the zip tie is smooth going away from you rather than the complexity there, but you don't want to show the line. The side with the line needs to be stuck to the card because that's more visually obtrusive. Okay, anywhere, you set the pricing, it's not our business, but if there's anybody watching this video who thinks they're going to manufacture these without having a 4x7 license, you're not. Okay, the people who backed this one are the ones who backed it. They're the ones that own the rights to this. They're the ones that are going to be manufacturing it. If you want to manufacture them, then you go to them and you ask them to buy their license, or you ask them to rent. You ask to rent it from them. All right. If you just rip this off from us, okay, we're going to come after you. All right. Sorry about that, but you're not going to rip us off. You're cool, man. Just if you want a FixIt Clip license, just go to one of the users. Probably they'll let you share it with them if you work in their house with them. You know. But what if you live on the other side of the country? Well, maybe they'll just sell it to you. Maybe they'll sell it to you. Maybe they're kind of hard up on cash. They'll sell it to you for $6,000, $10,000, something like that, which is a good deal, honestly. But if you think you're going to go into heavy commercial manufacturing of these things, you're not. Okay, the handmade ones are going to be the ones that own this industry, because the handmade ones are the ones that invented the new segment. All right, so if you think you're going to manufacture a knockoff version of these things with machines, you can't. Everybody's going to know that they're fake. Everybody's going to know that it's not some individual in their house who's making the money. It's this giant corporation of some giant factory somewhere. Okay, so they're going to know. So you can't fake it. I did want to mention this. I've been having some delamination problems with Gorilla Tape. All right, it's been happening so much that I have to bring it to your guys' attention. Before you sell even one of these, put them on your wallet. Make sure you define the kind of tape that you're comfortable using. Put them on your key ring and use them for a couple of weeks before you rush them to market. The reason is, and use them regularly. Ask your friends to use them regularly. Because I've been getting delamination for the first time in several years of using Gorilla Tape, this tape has been delaminating off of it. Now, Gorilla would probably claim, well, we never intended it to be wrapped around the thing like that, and that's fine. If you don't want your tape to be used in our products, then tell us and we won't use it. But if you want us to keep using your tape, you've got to fix these quality issues, okay? And delamination of tape is not acceptable. All right, I mean, we aren't giant corporations. We're small businesses. We run on very small margins. So Gorilla, if you want us to keep using your stuff, get it fixed.